starting lineup of your favorite show. At producer, 5'11" from Blanchester, the Cow Killer, Casey McCollister. And comic engineer, standing at 4'8", the pride of the West Side, Elliot Rearing. And your host, weighing 150 pounds, soaking wet, from Hamilton, Ohio, Ace Fowler.
Well, hello and welcome in on a Monday edition. Happy Father's Day for the fathers of the chat. A belated Father's Day. I hope you guys spent some much requited time with loved ones, with your dads, with your children, for those that are dads. Happy Father's Day. This is Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. Reed Mouse, Jacob Tissett, Elliot Rearing. Sitting in front of you over at the producers, it's Casey McCollister and Jimbo Collins. Jimmy Mondays, as we like to call him here on Mondays. We'll call him Jimmy Tuesdays tomorrow. We'll call him whatever we want because that's what we do to old Jimmy. It was a weekend of a lot of sports.
Yeah.
U.S. Open. The Reds had a series that they dropped 2 of 3. I think that they could have easily been swept. I think they easily could have swept. Like, it was just a very, very exciting series. A lot of things going on. But guys, how was your weekend? It's lovely to see your smiling faces.
It was great for me. I had a big golf outing Saturday. And
how'd you do?
It was terrible. Truly terrible.
Did you lose it? Have you lost it?
I might have lost it. I don't know where it happened, but I think I've lost it. And I couldn't hit a ball off the tee to save my life. I was good with my short game. Short game was really good, but outside of that, I was abysmal. But the outing was great. It was for our classmate who died a couple years ago, Logan Purvis. Shout out to my guy Logan. But it was a good time. And then later that night, we went to the Dierks Bentley concert at Riverbend.
How was that?
Phenomenal. What a show that guy puts on.
Great performer.
Have you seen
I've seen him live before.
So I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but basically after the whole concert ends, the band, they all dress up in 90s gear, and they do like a 90s country medley. And they're out there for
the encore?
Oh, yeah.
For the encore?
For the second encore. They do 2 encores. It's like a Marvel movie.
Reed and I know a little something about 2 encores.
That's right. No doubt about it.
What a brutal when the brass band comes out for a second encore when they're already 20 minutes over.
Oh, no.
Listen, encores, when you're a paying customer, encore is fantastic. I think that they're a little trite at this point because you do them every concert you've ever been to.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been to a concert that they haven't done it. The best is when no one's cheering. They're like, you want to hear another one? They're like, sounds like you're going to sing another one anyway. Sounds like you're going to do it anyways. But when you're working a concert, they're not that much fun. AJR, Dierks Bentley, when are you going to go to a concert with some good music?
Ayo.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. I'll try to find some no-name country singer that TikTok's made somewhat relevant, and I'll try to go see. I'll go try to see him in a dive bar or a homeless shelter, wherever these guys are performing that you go to.
That sounds
so.
incredible.
I'll go find them out next week, and that'll be my goal. But yeah, it was a great weekend. It got a little hot yesterday. Listen. I know you guys like the hot. I hate the hot. When it gets to 95, which is what it was yesterday, I'm out.
Where would you, because I've always said I will take 100-degree weather over 45-degree weather any day of the week. At what point, how cold does it have to be where you'll take that over 100? Like, how cold are you going before eventually you'll take 100 over?
I'd take 40 over 100 every day.
Really? You're an inside guy, though. You don't go, like, I feel like...
I go outside. I don't like the heat. Like, if I'm outside, I'm gonna not be out there, sunbathing. It's a sunbathing zebra. It doesn't make much sense. So I try to, if it's 95, I'm out.
I compare it to...
I cut the grass yesterday. That was brutal.
Oh, it was hot yesterday. I compare it to, my dad told me this one time when I was a kid, and I think it's pretty wise. What temperature would you rather play a baseball game in? 40 degrees or 100 degrees? It's 100 degrees every single time. I think I'd rather play in 110 degrees than a 40-degree day.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I don't like the cold.
That's a tough choice.
I don't mess with
line's
the cold
40.
at all.
Yeah, 40's the line.
If you're in the 30s, I'll take 100, but if you're in the 40s, I'll take 40s.
I can take
100.
40s, yeah.
I'm taking 100. I can live in this weather. If it was 40 degrees year-round, I could not live in that. And I would not want to live in that.
That's fair.
That's fair, yeah. I guess if you look at it that
I
way.
couldn't live in this all year.
Yeah, I like the hot
100
weather.
all year, that'd be brutal.
That would be brutal. It just gets too much.
I'm not packing up and moving to Austin, Texas anytime soon.
It would be disgusting. Your weekend, I saw on your Twitter, Did you post that on TikTok, by the way?
No.
See, you should.
Should have.
You should, because you can still do it. It still plays.
Just find a new
my-
audience.
Do a little narration.
My wife so there's this TikToker, I forget his name, but he's like
SB mowing?
no, he's renovating his house, and he, just similar to how I am, and he has no clue what he's doing. Like, he just watches YouTube videos and
Really?
does it,
Very
and it
nice.
shows you the progress as he does it. And she's like, I want you to do this. And he's a young kid, and I don't have the desire to do all that.
If
It
your
seems-
TikTok feed for your followers was half adult baseball GoPro videos and half redoing your yard and lawn mowing, I think you would get a pretty sick group of followers. You get on every algorithm.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting on Amazon today, and I'm actually getting a strap.
Please.
A chest strap for a phone, and I'm gonna play like third base in my adult
Very nice.
baseball league on Chatterbox's TikTok.
That's gonna be awesome.
Because I can't go live on my own, so I'm just gonna go live on Chatterbox's TikTok. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Those videos are great. I watch
The time lapses.
Oh, SB mowing is the guy on TikTok I follow. It's just the most soothing thing of all time. I was watching you do your yard. You did a great job. You did a
Thank
great
you.
job. You
Thank
got
you.
all the little weeds out of that driveway. That was phenomenal.
Every Saturday that I don't have to work for Chatterbox, I think of 46 things that I can do. And while I'm doing them,
Yeah.
I think of more things that I can do. And I convince myself at like 2 p.m. when I'm already done like 4 or 5 different things, it's like, I'm going to get to all this today. And then it gets about like 6, 7, and then those aspirations. Like, I was going to completely clean out my garage. I was going to install a new garage door opener all on Saturday, and I didn't even come close to getting
Your
it.
definition of a relaxing Saturday is far different than mine. You're gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna wake up real bright and early, and we're just gonna go to work, even though I don't have work.
Idle hands are the work of the devil.
That's right. That's right.
Your tweet was, I have a weekend off of work, and then you followed it with about 12 hours of work.
Yeah, and you posted every piece of work you did, which was a lot of work.
I didn't even show you what I did yesterday. Yesterday, I played baseball in the morning till about noon. I went and picked
Meatball
up.
mouse?
Went and picked up. I showed the picture of taking all the laminate flooring, dropped those off, put those in her store. Took the old flooring out, and it's still sitting in my truck right now, and I've got to dump that. I've got to do some more yard work. It's going to be 95 degrees, but as soon as work's over today, I'm going to get to work.
No question about work or show truck now.
Oh yeah.
No question.
It's
one
just
thing-
work.
So the one thing that I've always done, as we're just spitballing here to start this show, the one thing that I've held in the tank about my work truck is I've had an ashtray in there.
Yeah.
I don't know why I haven't shown that before.
That's a work truck
A show
thing.
truck doesn't have an ashtray.
That's fact.
A work truck has an ashtray. Never used it.
Yeah.
Not a smoker.
No, Jacob, when you woke up yesterday, what did you do? What was on your list of things to do on a Sunday?
I woke up about 12:15.
Love that.
It's phenomenal.
That's what I did as well.
And then I went and drank outside for about 5 hours.
That is a day off.
I mean, it's a great Sunday.
That is a day off right there. But listen, there was sports yesterday. I have to talk about it a little bit. Last week we had no sports whatsoever. Whenever we come back on a weekend, we can talk about some
catch
sports.
up.
So let's go to headlines. The Reds. They lose their 8th consecutive series to the Milwaukee Brewers. Every single time there is no hope whatsoever, and I knew it going in. They lost yesterday 5-4. There was a glimmer of hope in the 9th inning. If you missed it, Fairchild reached on Willy Adames' error, his throwing error. He got to second base with 1 out. TJ popped up. Elly was then walked intentionally, first and second, 2 outs. Who's our hero, Jacob? Santiago Espinal.
Always.
He comes up to the plate. I had very little hope that he would make contact with the baseball. He did, put the ball in play, put it over the second base into shallow center. It was like a 75-mile-per-hour hit, a little bloop. Stuart Fairchild, I'm not kidding, was gunned down halfway down the third base line. It wasn't remotely close. There was some potential catcher's interference that was waved off. And the only reason I mention that is because John Sadak, broadcaster for the Reds, he was saying that David Bell was trying to challenge it. He was saying that maybe it was blocking the plate. I still don't really know this rule, so I'm bringing on now rules expert Reed Mouse. We can't show the play to you due to copyright issues, but basically from what it looked like to me, the catcher went down the line to field a baseball that the center fielder threw. He caught it, 15 feet from home plate. He was on the line, and Stuart Fairchild had nowhere to go. He tried to get around him and then didn't. But was that blocking the plate?
No, it's not. You guys were telling me that Sadak. Obviously, I don't. Listen, I'm not going to spend my Father's Day watching your little Reds. So I didn't see the play, but apparently Sadak was losing it over blocking the plate. Here's the
I don't know
thing.
if he was losing it, but
He's at least suggested
Yeah.
that it could have been called.
Here's the thing, and I know they're really stressing this rule this year, and they made it a point every year. The umpires will tell the teams, like, hey, we're going to stress this rule. Like in college a few years, it was like, hey, you've got to get out of the way of a pitch. We're going to keep people in the box and they don't try to get out of it. So they're making a stress to say, hey, we're really going to work on this blocking the plate. Fielders have a right to make a play. When you're talking about the Bill of Rights, the Constitution of baseball,
Sure.
number one is fielders have a right to make the play, and that's all he was doing. He can't get out of the way. He's got to go field the ball. He can't just let it go by, and he's working up the line. Also, when the catcher has the ball, he can block the plate. The whole thing is don't block the plate before you have the ball. When I was a kid, we were taught as catchers, you put your left foot on the corner of home plate. As the throw is coming in, you drop your leg. You drop your left leg, or you fold up and block the entire plate, and you move with the play. After Buster Posey got hurt, that changed. After rule changes, that changed. And now it's very much a swipe tag as the play is going in. But once you have the ball, you're allowed blocking the plate. That's not even close to blocking the plate, working up the line. Also, you can still get to the plate when you're 10 feet away from the bag. You just can't block the actual base.
One of the issues I didn't know, I thought that maybe I would have liked to see him truck the catcher. You just run full sprint. I thought you weren't allowed to do that anymore. I don't know the full rules on that.
Yeah, you are.
You are allowed, and that's what he should have done.
Right, yeah. If that's your only opportunity as a base runner. So like I've said, base runners have a right to the baseline as long as the fielder isn't making it. If you have no other option but to run around him or to run through him, you probably should just run through him, especially after the catcher makes the catch. So that's when a catcher's most vulnerable, is as he is making the catch. And so if you can get there in time, just try and truck him and take your lumps. Hopefully Stewie Fairchild seems like he has a good truck stick. So that's that. It wasn't even close to blocking.
He was too busy dancing on TikTok to get a good jump off second.
Yeah, I saw that tweet yesterday. It was very funny. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't.
There was a tweet yesterday. If you don't know, he has a girlfriend that does TikTok dances, and she does some weird robot voice on the TikTok. It's very confusing. Again, content that I don't
think he's been shown on there officially.
They show his jerseys and his arms and his legs.
His legs a lot.
Gotcha.
She does this thing where like they dance at every ballpark. It's not great content.
Yeah, I think it sucks. But
she used to do a thing where she used to ask him baseball rules.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
cool.
she should ask him today, what's obstructing it? What is blocking the plate for a catcher?
Should
Why
ask
don't
him
you
for
truck
running
that
on
guy?
contact with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth.
Why can't you hit a right-handed pitcher?
I couldn't.
Why can't you hit a
I was watching it live. Obviously, I couldn't believe how far out that he was. Nowhere close to home plate on a routine shallow single out there in center field, but tough. Reds lose their 8th consecutive series.
What a weird
to
series.
the Brewers. It was a weird one.
The Reds win the game that they played decidedly the worst.
Oh yeah,
right?
5 errors.
Yeah.
You know how rare it is for a Major League Baseball team to commit 5 errors in a single game
And win.
But yeah, they scored. The offense looked better in Milwaukee. I guess that's the only takeaway I have from it. We're gonna go into some stats here and stuff like that. There was a situation yesterday in the 6th inning when 2 men were on. We'll talk about that as well. The Reds had 8 hits, 2 of them by Elly de la Cruz, including a home run and a triple. Elly also scored on a bad throw back to second base. I don't know, Jacob. See, this is where like the Elly stuff. People get frustrated with Elly.
Your reply was the most true thing in the world.
He strikes out 40% of the time, and you get frustrated. Sometimes he makes some bad throws at shortstop, and you're like, man, can Elly really be the superstar we're all saying? Then you watch yesterday with a triple, a home run, and then him basically stealing home on a wild throw back to second base. It's crazy what he can do for you, what he can do for your offense. If he just gets on base, game over. That's all he needs. If he got on first base, every single time. Obviously, impossible. But if you were able to do that, he'd be the world's greatest player. He'd just steal every base.
It's funny looking at his baseball reference page. They do the little bold and italicized when you're leading the league. Leads the league in stolen bases, leads the league in caught stealing, leads the league in strikeouts. A lot of give and take there.
Yeah. But that's our guy. That's Elly De La Cruz. And before we move on, we're going to take a quick little break. We got more Reds. We got headlines. We're talking about the U.S. Open.
That's right.
We're talking about T. Higgins. T. Higgins is back.
Oh!
Back in orange and black.
Adam Shefty, watch out.
Hot seat, Adam Schefter.
Hope he had a terrible Father's Day.
All this and more. We are Off the Bench. Chatterbox Sports, presented by United Dairy Farmers. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back at you. Welcome back in. We are Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. It's a beautiful day to be on the radio. If you're listening, driving around in your car radio, thank you very much.
Roll the windows down.
Roll the windows. Well,
it's a nice day.
Today's an AC. I'm normally a Windows guy.
I'm always a Windows guy.
But-
Today's an AC.
Oh, I'm always windows down.
Except for when it's 95.
Next week is an AC day.
So
enough.
teach their own.
I
But
might not be outside much this next week.
Are your cars advanced enough to where they don't actually start blowing air till it's cold? Have you guys seen those?
I don't have a show truck.
yeah, I have a 2003 Chevy Impala.
Mine isn't either.
Okay.
Mine isn't either, but like one of the truck that Sean now drives, it doesn't blow air until it's cold.
Wow.
It gets it cooked up. I knew the Impala didn't have that feature.
I'll be lucky if I get cold air. Listen, Steer also had 2 hits. Going back to the Reds, Steer had 2 hits and an RBI. The Reds are back at it tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates. First pitch is at 6:40, where Paul Skenes faces Carson Spiers.
How cool is that?
Very cool.
Skenes Spiers.
Skenes is 3-0 with a 2.43 ERA with 46 strikeouts.
Shout out
Very
Brian
scary.
B. Brian B called it. Carson Spiers starting on the mound. So just kudos to him, man.
Man, shout out to Brian
Kudos
B.
to him.
Man, I get pumped up for Brian B.
What's the prop line on Livy Dunn appearances on the broadcast tonight? Reds broadcast.
You think she's gonna be at the game?
Oh,
She go to all the
it's
games?
home. It's home. They probably have a little
She
home
live in
there.
Pittsburgh?
She lives. She believes she lives with Paul.
Okay.
So I'm saying, I'm putting it at 2.5. You guys
If
taking the over or the under?
if there's one, I'm taking the over on 2.5.
So that's what you're gambling on.
Right. But I think there's got to be a.
You don't think she's there?
The bet cashes out if she's not there.
Do they pull up? Does a picture of her, like they pull up, like this is Paul Skenes' girlfriend?
Yes.
She will
That
be
counts.
talked about on the Reds broadcast.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Yes, I'll take
So
that.
if we're just talking Livy Dunn references on broadcast, I'll bump it up to 4.5.
I'll take the under on 4.5.
Under
I
on
think
4.5.
3 is like 3-4 is
Okay.
my sweet spot.
Okay.
Around the league, the Twins, they beat the Athletics 8-7 in a thriller. That was in the second game of a doubleheader. They also won the first game of the doubleheader 6-2. Larnach, Miranda, Royce Lewis, they all hit home runs last night. Red Sox, they crushed the Yankees 9-3. Rizzo left early due to a collision at first base. Aaron Judge hit another home run. Is that series lost all meaning? I don't care about that series. I used to care about that series a lot. I don't care about that series
National-
at all.
I think it still matters.
Still matters?
It matters to them. National storylines in Major League Baseball are pretty much gone. They're pretty much gone. I remember being a kid, Gary Sheffield arguing with the fans at Fenway right after the 03 and 04. But yeah, it's to quote a writer in town, it's lost its luster, at least in the national.
I watched a
national
couple innings of
news.
it last night on Sunday. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it came on. I said, "Oh, Red Sox Yankees. I'll watch a couple innings."
Yeah, I popped it on and then I turned it off. And
I was
then
surprised at
that
how
was-
expensive the tickets are for this weekend against the Red Sox. I mean, I know that's a big brand, but they're considerably more expensive than normal. And I
Really?
didn't really think the Red Sox.
Yeah.
The
would-
Red Sox are what,
Drive
the
that.
third biggest brand in baseball?
Yeah, but
Behind
it just doesn't.
Yankees and Dodgers?
It just doesn't strike me as Red Sox fans would be around here.
So, my family, my brother kind of grew up a pseudo Red Sox fan because my dad coached Kevin Youkilis when he was in high school.
That's awesome.
So, I don't know. I think there's more Red Sox fans than we're giving them credit for. They're not as loud as I think there's more Red Sox fans than Dodgers fans in this
Really?
area, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, but I feel like Dodgers fans just like they crawl out of the walls of your city when the Dodgers play here.
Yeah.
Like, they just appear.
That's true.
Mariners, they shut out the Rangers 5-0. Logan Gilbert went 8 innings, allowing 2 hits, 0 runs, striking out 9. Great game by Logan Gilbert. Dodgers, they shut out the Royals 3-0, but the news of the weekend, Mookie Betts fractured his hand after getting hit by a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, which means Elly de la Cruz starting at shortstop in the All-Star game, Jacob?
That was maybe I'm a bad guy, but that was my immediate thought when I saw Mookie broke his hand. I said, "Oh, Elly might start in the All-Star game." I think he has an inside shot.
I think he's going to.
Is he the most deserving? I don't know about that answer.
I don't think it matters. It's the MLB All-Star game.
Correct, and it's gonna be fan vote. And I think with Mookie Betts gone, I think he's the favorite.
I think this does lock him into the All-Star game, whether he's starting or not. I think without Mookie, he's certainly going to be there. Right now in the National League, C.J. Abrams is ahead of him on votes for starting, and that seems to be it right now.
C.J. Abrams is ahead of him, huh?
It's fan vote to start right now. So today it resets every day. So the Nationals could have just voted a lot this morning. We'll see what happens there. No first returns don't come out for another couple of weeks.
Thinking of National League shortstop, I was thinking about this yesterday watching the Cubs play the Cardinals. Is Dansby Swanson the worst shortstop in the NL Central?
Adames is better.
I don't think O'Neal Cruz has been great this year, but obviously his ceiling's very high.
Mason Wynn's been great.
Mason Wheel, O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah.
He might be.
Maybe include his contract, he certainly is. The other three guys are on rookie contracts.
Maybe. Going on here, the Diamondbacks, they obliterate the pathetic White Sox 12-5. Man, sorry. Giants dominate the Angels 13-6. Pirates have their way with the Rockies winning 8-2. 6 Pirates had multi-hit games yesterday. The Astros, they pulled Ronel Blanco after 7 hitless innings, which would have been his second no-hitter of the season had they kept him in. They won 4-1 anyway. Mets crushed the Padres 11-6. Guardians, they fall to the Blue Jays 7-6. Varsho hit his 3rd career grand slam. The 2-run rally in the 9th came up just short. Orioles win 8-3 over the Phillies. They have won their 3rd straight series and are 3 games behind the Yankees. Cardinals, they beat the Cubs 2-1, winning that series. The Cubs have lost 9 straight series, if you don't count, again, the White Sox
Which we're not counting.
Which we won't do.
Which we're not counting.
Would the White Sox be 500 in AAA?
I don't know that, but here's the thing is
I
the
don't
Cubs'
know.
last
It's close, probably.
The Cubs' last series win came on May 12th. Once again, if you don't include the 2-game series against the White Sox, May 12th. I think it was probably May 13th when I got on Luke Brenneman's case about when he said that the Cubs aren't very good. Sometimes they're wrong. And
that White Sox series was hilarious, too. They didn't deserve any of those games. They won 2. They didn't deserve a single one. They were down 5-0 in each game.
If you come back down, I feel like you do deserve it.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, it wasn't like it was errors and walks. They scored 7 runs in the final 2 innings.
It was the summer of Mike.
It was the summer of Mike.
It still is the summer of Mike. What an objectively hilarious thing to yell at a walk-off home run. Summer of Mike. It still is. It still is.
Going to the WNBA, the Fever, they beat the Chicago Sky 91-83. Caitlin Clark played great, scoring 23 points, 8 boards, 9 assists. But
no. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's your favorite thing to do, and don't do it.
She had 5 turnovers as well. She's the turnover merchant. But saying all that, the big story of that game, it was against, obviously, Angel Reese. Angel Reese says that people watch the WNBA because of her. She fouled hard.
That's not what Angel Reese said.
Yeah, pretty much. Caitlin Clark, she fouled Caitlin Clark pretty hard. It was listed as a flagrant 1. Angel Reese's stats for the game, 11 points, 4 for 13 shooting.
I think when Angel Reese said was that when they talk about the rise of the WNBA, I will be brought up. I will be talked about it. And that is objectively true. That is
she said people are watching because of me, too, is a direct quote.
Okay, well, I think we just talked about her on a show that we have never talked about WNBA other than Caitlin Clark. Like, even when Caitlin Clark plays other teams.
I only brought that up because they were playing Caitlin Clark.
I'm saying that when you talk about Caitlin Clark playing other teams, because we talk about Caitlin Clark a lot, we don't talk about how the other players do. We've brought up 2 WNBA players on this show, one of them being Angel Reese.
True. Can't argue that.
We talked about the other lady that flagrant fouled Caitlin Clark as well.
That's right. I forget her name. 37% from the field, Angel Reese. NBA news. The Mavericks, they go to Boston for Game 5 tonight, 8:30 6.5-point spread as the Celtics are favored yet again at home. Mavericks will look to extend the series after a 40-point win Friday night. I didn't watch
Shout out Scott Foster.
The extender.
I mean, he's just the best at what he does. He's absolutely the best at what he does.
I'll tell you what. Adam Silver gets on the horn and he says, "Please, Scott, can you extend this series to 6?" And he says, "I'll do what I can."
He said, "I won't just give the Mavericks a win. I'll give them one of the biggest single-game wins in the history of the finals."
And that's
leave no doubt.
I love it.
It's objectively funny that both the NHL and the NBA go down 3-0 and then just absolute blowouts. And it just won't matter.
Yeah.
It will not matter.
Hockey, there has been, I think, 2 or 3 Stanley Cup finals where teams come back from down 3-0.
Oh,
so
really?
It's at least happened before, and no team with a goal differential as high as the Oilers has ever lost a series, including 2 of the teams that came back from down 3-0. So that one's at least you can talk yourself into it a little bit. Connor McDavid just broke the assists record in the playoff and everything. I think you should maybe be scared of one of the best players. He's in the top 10 single playoff points list twice. All 8 other players on that list won the Stanley Cup that year.
Is it time to start talking about Connor McDavid being the best Edmonton Oiler ever?
Possibly.
I think it's time to start talking about that. What do you think, Elliot?
Yeah, I think so for sure. Saturday is when they played, right? They played game 4 or 5, and they won. The Oilers won.
4. Yeah.
The Oilers won. Dirks Bentley, once he found out that result at the concert, immediately put on a McDavid shirt for the rest of the show. Very, very funny. But yeah, listen, I hope that the Celtics win tonight, just end it, because if they blow a 3-0 series lead to the Dallas Mavericks,
Jason Tatum has to retire.
That would be awesome.
Jaylen Brown has to retire.
No,
they all have to retire.
I think Jason Tatum would get the brunt of that, and Jaylen Brown could kind of skate below the radar.
Jaylen Brown's the one who said they're going to win 9 championships in 2 years.
Well, he's already lost that take. So.
I know, but it's like I don't know. That would be crushing.
They combined for like 22 points or something in Game 4.
Yeah, it's tough. The Celtics would be the biggest frauds of all time if they blow a 3-0 lead to Kyrie Irving and Luka, because that's it. That's all they've got.
When the Celtics win this series, who will we look back as the real champion of the WNBA this year? The Lakers or the Celtics? Reminder, the Lakers won the in-season.
That's true.
Who's the real champion?
The Lakers.
I agree.
The Lakers. By the way, do you think this is time? Do you think do you think they would split up if they were hypothetically if they were to lose this series? Would they split up Tatum and Brown? They would have to change something, right?
I just don't think. Well, you haven't paid Tatum yet, so you might. I mean, maybe, but I mean that's the best duo in the NBA. I don't know why you would break that.
They're not going to
made
break
5
that up.
finals or 5
Also,
Eastern Conference finals in 7 years.
Constant reminder that Brad Stevens is the best at his job in the NBA because he's the one that put this roster together. And we want to talk about how he's going to take college
Kentucky.
jobs.
Yeah,
he's taking college jobs.
He's going to leave the biggest basketball brand, maybe one of the biggest sports brands, as the front office guy, getting paid millions upon millions, and he's going to go back to Kentucky. That makes sense to me. Listen,
is Brad Stevens the most overrated GM in sports? He's never won anything.
Not yet, but he's about to. And
He's been about to for.
And you're going to feel real silly when he does.
We'll see.
How is he over? I mean, he's put together this roster. This roster is absolutely incredible.
I haven't won.
They're going to.
We'll see. Luka Magic.
Come on.
No, they're going to
It's
win.
the gentleman's sweep.
I know they're going to win, but then we can talk about the banged up Knicks and the hurt Giannis and the Sixers. Embiid got hurt.
Serious question: who wins who wins Finals MVP?
Brad Stevens.
Brown.
It has to be Brown, right?
Brown.
I mean, it's certainly
not
not Tatum.
Brad
I think it could be Drew Holiday, depending on how this game goes.
I think it could be Drew
He
Holiday.
was the best
too.
player in 2 of their 3
I don't
wins.
think it's Jason Tatum.
Luka's
certainly
defense. Luka's
They
defense.
should give it to Luka
defense
and put it in the Celtics.
Finals Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
Brown is like a massive favorite, I think, to win.
Really?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He should be.
It was always going to be him or Tatum, whoever played better. It's the old LeBron talk. It's like, no
Brown
matter
is-
whether he's the best player or not, they give it to the name that thinks it'll help his legacy or whatever. You're not talking about legacies for anyone else. Jason Tatum doing the whole Kobe thing pretty well, though.
Oh, yeah.
Riding someone's coattails to your first championship, and you can just use it for your legacy forever.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
Is that what we're doing today? We're disparaging Kobe Bryant?
Oh, I could
On
go
the show?
for an hour.
He did. I didn't. What, you were going to add something, Jim?
It's not
Brown-
what we're doing today.
Brown is minus 230 to win NBA Finals MVP.
Minus 230. So that's it. Those are your headlines. We have one more headline. We'll get into that next segment. It is what happened at the U.S. Open, the United States Open. Casey watched all of it, he told me, before the show. So we're going to get into that and a little bit more coming up next. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back. Welcome on in. We are Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. I am Elliot Rearing. To my right is Reed Mouse. To my left is Jacob Tissett. James, Jimmy, Rudy. What's his other ones?
There's a lot.
There's a couple in
I
there.
feel like we're missing a couple. Oh, Richard, Dick Collins is over there, and then we have
Dickie
Casey
Monday.
McCollister.
Dickie Mondays.
Behind the keys there, making sure everything runs smoothly. That's our show here. That's our cast of characters. We also have, if you're watching on YouTube, we added a helmet to the desk.
Yeah, listen. Everyone asked
together.
about the desk. We are slowly figuring this whole thing out, and I said, wow, let's just put a helmet on there. We're in Hamilton.
Sure.
Big Blue.
Big Blue.
Who's your favorite Hamilton high school football player ever?
Yeah.
Robbie Riggle. Robbie Riggle played in 1972. He took him all the
Did
way.
you say Rob Riggle?
Yes.
Robbie Riggle. It was Robbie Riggle. He was the initial one, and then he carried him to, I believe, like a sub 500 season.
That does sound like Hamilton football. My favorite Hamilton football player is one of my cousins. I'm just any of the three.
Not even a name.
Sure, I'll go Zach Keene.
Okay.
Mine too.
Yep, there you go.
That's his too. Okay, U.S. Open yesterday. If you missed it, the course won. Shout out to the course.
Dominated.
Pinehurst was immaculate.
I hope you guys are happy.
I was ecstatic.
Only 8 players.
It was awesome.
Only 8 players finished under par. Bryson DeChambeau gets the win technically. The course was the real winner though. Bryson DeChambeau won his second U.S. Open with a 6-under score for the tournament. He hit one of the most clutch shots in tour history. An up and down. He needed an up and down from 50 yards away and in a bunker. Drilled it within 4 feet. And then he made the putt, obviously, to hold par, save par, and win the whole event.
First up and down out of that bunker all weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, this is a fun one. This is going to be a fun one. Rory McIlroy was 496 for his last 496 this season in putts less than 3 feet. He missed one yesterday. And then he missed another 4-footer as well. Now, granted, it was a difficult 4-footer on 18, saying all that.
I mean,
How
that
difficult
putt,
can a 4-footer?
that putt,
Correct.
that putt was so easy. If I was out there, I would have just asked my friends, like, good? And they would have been, good. And then I would have picked it up, counted it as a par.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to say this right now. It's Bryson DeChambeau has had the biggest image change I've seen in sports over the past, 20 years? Tiger Woods had probably a big image change as well. People, they hated him, then everybody loved him again, obviously, in 2019. But Bryson DeChambeau, it's been a complete 180. He was one of the most hated players on tour. We had Brooks Koepka openly mocking him in interviews. We have Zach Johnson not giving him a call for the Ryder Cup, not giving him a chance. And his antics and everything about it, he got roided up a little bit. Not actually, but he looked like he did a lot of steroids. He was built well. He was built like a brick house. He was driving 400 yards over water. He had that stupid hat. I know and shout out to Payne, obviously, Stewart. And that's the hat he wears. Everybody got annoyed with the hat. They got annoyed with him calculating every little shot he had. His clubs are 3D printed. He soaks his balls in Epsom salt. And all these things, it just makes him seem like an unlikable guy. This weekend, it started at the Masters probably too. But this year, this whole season, he went to live, and everybody probably wrote him off. It was the end of Bryson DeChambeau. He is not only back, he's probably the most loved player on tour as of this very second, as of today. The whole course was behind him the entire way. I'd argue it played a major role into him winning that event. Him getting all the fans riled up. He was signing everything. He was staying late. Yesterday, he stayed hours late at that event to make sure every fan could touch the trophy. You don't see that. That's somebody who is, I don't know if it was his PR team. I don't know if it's just him. Somebody, whoever was responsible for Bryson being this loved by the golf community, they deserve a raise. Because this is absolutely incredible what I'm seeing. It was fun watching him talk yesterday at the press or at the post round press conference. I think it was like 2 hours after the event. There was another a British media group was there. They were just conducting an interview. He was running around the course with the trophy like a kid, and it was just fun to see. Bryson DeChambeau has completely changed his turnaround. And Reed brought up something too. I think it's gone the complete opposite way for Rory McIlroy. I think Rory yesterday, and again, people still like Rory. Nobody hates Rory McIlroy. But ever since the Live Golf thing happened, it was clear that he was the voice. He was the anti-Live, him and Brandel Chambly. They were the anti-Live guys, and they made their stance very clear and abundant. And now it seems like with PGA continuing to try to get mergers with Live and all of this, it just seems like they were wrong, and it looks like their attitude was just off the mark. Casey, I sent Casey this yesterday. Rory McIlroy left the grounds. We can show this one first if we want. So this is, now we'll show it. Rory left the event. Everybody saw the meme, most people did. But he was sitting there in the locker room or the clubhouse, wherever that is, and he looked dejected. He just missed 2 easy putts to lose that tournament. He lost himself that tournament, no doubt about it. Walked out. He was out before Bryson started talking in the post-round presser. This was Rory speeding out of the parking lot after losing the U.S. Open. Backing up. There we go. And he's gone. He was
Bye,
out.
Rory.
He was out.
He was in the air before Bryson finished his speech. There was a plane
right.
tracker, and a plane had taken off for Pebble Beach before Bryson finished his speech.
And we can talk about that for a second too, because people were getting on Rory's case for leaving early.
What would you do?
Correct. If you,
I would have been out of there faster.
If you lost a U.S. Open like that, missing two of the easiest putts of your career to blow the entire championship, I would have sprinted out to my car. Sprinted. And obviously he declined media interviews. He just left. People were getting on his case. They should not get on his case for it. I will say it's hilarious because Bryson, after he lost the PGA, he stayed after, he finished his round. Xander came up to 18. Xander beat him. Bryson stayed after and shook his hand, was out there celebrating with Xander. Right. And you see the difference. Now, Bryson didn't lose like Rory lost.
It's such a weird thing. It's like there's no right way. You're dealt a losing hand there. It's like, how do you traverse these dangerous waters? Do you sit there and do you take interviews in which you're so upset, so emotional that you might say something dumb that you regret? And you clearly don't want to be there anymore just because the embarrassment of what just happened.
Yeah.
I don't know how you deal with losing.
Yeah.
Like you guys said, you'd leave right away. I don't know. And by the way, Rory, man, what a tough 6 months he's been going through.
I seriously have no problem with it. I think the expectation people have now that the players in all sports give so much to the media, in most cases, I think is ridiculous. Their job is to play the sport, and they play the sport, and if you lose like that, you should have every right to get in your car and leave. I think the whole thing where we think, as fans and as, reporters and stuff, we're owed so much from athletes post game or whatever, I think is somewhat ridiculous. Yeah,
and by the way, the fan base or the fans at Pinehurst were killing him. They were doing USA chants as he was walking up to miss that final 4-footer. Brutal stuff. I think he's getting back together with his wife, though, per reports.
Good for him.
Per reports.
Good for him. He needed that one.
The nuclear family is on.
Yeah. I sent Casey this other video, and I mentioned it. Bryson was walking around the course all night long. He was there 4 hours after he finished that round, just making sure every fan got to touch the trophy because he thanked him in the presser. But he was like, you were a big part of it, and I want to make sure you guys can all feel it.
No audio.
It was, I'll tell you this, Bryson DeChambeau has gone around completely. He might be one of my favorite players on tour now. I hated him, loathed him, detested him. And now he is one of my favorite players on tour because yesterday a video came up mid-round. He's stopping over to talk to fans. It's just one of those things where I don't know if it's him or the PR team. Somebody was responsible for this, and whoever that is, good job, because you've changed this guy's image completely and for the better. He is the only live golfer, the only one, where going to live has not only helped his brand, his personal brand, his image, but it was objectively the right decision for him.
I think they all
was the right decision for everyone.
For every single one of them.
Sure, because it's $500 million.
Correct.
But Dustin Johnson's now a nobody in golf.
Well, he's a nobody with $500 million.
And he's dating Paulina still.
Sure. Yeah. But he was one of the world's best golfers, and he is nowhere close to that now. He might as well not even know his name. John Rahm got injured, I think, in his last event. He's still pretty much fading to oblivion. You have Cam Smith. All these guys, it's just like you don't even know who they are. You don't watch them play anymore. What was that?
Cam Smith shot an 82.
He doesn't play golf anymore.
They don't play golf. They don't play golf. Bryson DeChambeau, he's now able to use the YouTube channel. He's able to grow fans that way, and it's worked. He plays a lot of golf, and Bryson cares. That's the other thing, too. He has $125 million, sure, but he cares. And that's
true.
And that's cool to see.
I wanted to say, and there's no way to prove it, but I was ahead of the curve on Bryson because, I don't, in a sport that I don't care a whole lot about, like golf, when everyone takes one opinion, Bryson sucks, Bryson sucks, Bryson sucks. Like 3 years ago, Bryson was my favorite golfer. Just because I wanted to go against the grain. So I was ahead of the curve. Now I hate Bryson. Now Bryson sucks. Why are you being so friendly, Bryson? What's with that? So now I'm out on Bryson.
The biggest loser of the weekend by far, you already mentioned his name, I think it's Brandel Chambly. Did you see his call of the final up and down? Bryson makes probably one of the more impressive shots of the entire tournament out of that bunker, like I said earlier. First up and down out of that greenside bunker all tournament. Plenty of balls had went in there. And Brandel's call for the final shot of the U.S. Open, well, that's good fortune for Bryson. He's lucky to get that shot down. I mean, he just hates the man. And honestly, kudos to him for sticking with it on the golf's biggest stage and not being someone you're not.
Here's Brandel Chambly.
He's the worst.
Might be the worst commentator in sports. This whole live thing broke his brain completely, and now he's unwatchable. I think at the time it was right to have that reaction when some of the best golfers in the world, already filthy rich, taking $300 million from live, Saudis, objectively probably not very good people that they're taking this money from. But I'd say this, any one of us, if we were offered $125 million by Live Golf to go play on their tour, we would jump, we would skip to Live Golf. And I think that's how most of the people are in this country, and most of the people in the world are. It's $125 million. What am I supposed to do, say no?
Yeah, listen, I don't understand how anyone can say no. Like Tiger turned down what? I think he got
800.
It was like 800.
It was over 5.
800, and you can say Tiger doesn't need any more money, which is true, but like 800 million?
I think if I was a guy at the top of the game, I wouldn't necessarily take it because being like my stature in the golf world, winning tournaments that people care about, like that would matter to me if I was a Brooks Koepka or even a John Rahm at that point. Like he was so shocking to me to go over there because he was actually competing for real tournaments that people cared about, and obviously money's money.
He won the Masters.
Right, when you can be competing with the best golfers in the world all the time and keep building your legacy, I think that matters a little bit. But if I'm in that next group, like Cam Young or Brooks Koepka's brother, I'm signing that check in a second.
And I think that part of the reason Rory might have been so upset despite missing those easy putts was because a live golfer was
that was the best part. So there was the shot of Bryson walking down the 17th fairway, and Rory was on the 18th green or 18th tee box, and they just stared at each other. Rory just looked at him, and it looked like he was angry. He was angry that a live golfer was beating him. By the way, live golfers, they have 2 championships since the start of live. Rory McIlroy has 0. Tough for our guy Rory. The PGA's got to make them whole, right? Though. Rory and Tiger and everybody like that.
Yeah, I would think.
Because these contracts are going to end soon. They were only like 4-year deals. And when they end, I imagine the PGA is going to I don't know what the deal will be, but the PGA players who stuck with them have got to receive some sort of financial compensation.
Yeah, I mean, you would think they'd get, at least the guys who are verbally out in front, like Rory, would definitely get a cut of the end deal and stuff.
So we'll see. But that's it. U.S. Open was very fun. I'd argue it's probably the best major since 2019 that I watched. But that's it. That's it. Off the bench, Chatterbox Sports, presented by United Dairy Farmers. ESPN 4T10, the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley. We'll be right back with you here in a couple minutes. Welcome back in. We are Off the Bench. I am Elliot Rearing, Reed Mouse, Jacob Tissett, Jimmy Collins, Casey McAllister. We are here for you to go over some sports of the weekend, and one of those sports being, one of the headlines being T. Higgins.
Yeah.
T. Higgins signing the franchise tag way earlier than expected. And I know there's a lot more Bengals fans in here than I am, probably, more so. And Jacob and Casey, they did a video on our YouTube if you wanted to check that out as well. But saying that, T. Higgins is a Bengal, and we're ready to win a Super Bowl, I guess. That's what the message was when I saw that signing. Jacob.
Yeah, no, pretty much the same thing. I think it's pretty cool that T bought in this early. It's definitely not an agent move. We've talked a lot about how his agent, Jesse Bates' agent as well, David Mulugeta, is we thought influencing his contract asks, his decisions with the franchise tag and sitting out during camp and everything. And this is definitely not a move that would go along with what his agent has done in the past with other contracts. So this seems like T. Higgins acting on his own and wanting to be a part of this team. I said it when Casey and I reacted on Saturday, but I think T honestly might have just been bored. I think boredom played a role in it. He's been training alone in Florida and Georgia, and the whole team's back here together, hanging out and having a good time going through training camp. And I think he wants to be here for minicamp. He's a guy that loves the team. We saw that video from one of the podcasts he was on over the summer where he was moved to near tears talking about how much he loved Cincinnati and wanting to be back. So I think now that he saw the guys back here and realized that he was going to be a Bengal no matter what, so he might as well just get back as soon as possible. I think that played a big role.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And we've talked about T. Higgins now for 5 months. It is crazy how much, to a pun intended here, T this entire offseason has gone. Like we can say, oh, he's going to get traded, oh, he's going to get an extension. We knew from the get-go that he was going to get offered the franchise tag and that he was going to sign it and play under it. We could have all this smoke screen about everything that's going to happen, but we knew that T. Higgins was going to play this year under the franchise tag for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And we love T. Higgins. We want him to be. That's what we wanted to happen. And you could say, well, what happens next year if he walks away and stuff like that? We always knew that he was going to have one last ride with the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's probably going to go out the door and get signed, big money somewhere else. And is that the most valuable thing that the Bengals could have done? Maybe not. But it was what was always going to happen. It's actually crazy how much once again, to a T, this offseason has gone for the Cincinnati Bengals. All the things that we expected have happened. Tyler Boyd, gone. Losing a coordinator, gonna happen. T. Higgins coming back under a franchise tag. Were we gonna sign an over 30 DJ Reader who's coming off of a very harsh injury? No, because that's not what the Bengals have done. We've got a replacement for running back. We knew that the first 2 draft picks were going to be an interior lineman on the defensive side and a tackle on the offensive side. These are all things that if in January we had to talk, what do you expect this offseason to look like for the Cincinnati Bengals? We knew bang, 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 bang. And just another one where it's T. Higgins is going to be back. He's going to ride one more time for the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's okay. And that's okay. He's going to play one more year. He's going to get paid because he deserves to get paid. But for one more year, he's a Cincinnati Bengal. And once again, the Cincinnati Bengals have one of the best, if not the best, wide receiving room in the National Football League.
One thing I do think this rules out is the double tag and trade next year. I think this is building some great rapport with the city and building some great rapport with the front office and proving, hey, I'll be here when I don't necessarily have to be to better the team, to better the young guys you've drafted and have in the room, like, Jermaine Burton, Yoshivas, Charlie Jones. He'll be a big influence with them, teaching them the new playbook. Obviously, Callahan gone, pitcher in, so there's going to be some moderate changes to the playbook and play calling. So he'll be able to help a lot of the new guys and the guys who have only been here for a year. And I think the front office and everything is going to be really happy that he didn't drag this out into more meaningful times of practice where it's just a bigger story hanging over the team's head. And they'll probably do right by him next year. And if you can't get an extension done, which I still think is a very, very long shot, you probably just let him walk in free agency.
It's also crazy because everyone wants to paint this picture that there is so much discord in the Cincinnati Bengals locker room. There's really not. Like they want to go, oh, Trey Hendrickson's not coming back. There's a lot of noise around T. Higgins. These are just what happens when you have really good players. They want to get paid more. They're under contract, and because of the way that the league is set up, there are rules in place to say, hey, they can't do this. They're going to play under their current contracts. Trey Hendrickson, T. Higgins going to get franchise tag. Everyone wants to talk about it. From Ian Rappaport to Adam Schefter to Colin Cowherd, they want to say, oh, there's a lot of noise coming out of Cincinnati. Well, what's happening? Trey Hendrickson asked for a trade. Well, he showed up to voluntary practice, and now he's at mandatory practice. Oh, T. Higgins wants a trade. Well, he signed the franchise tag well before he needed to, and now he's going to be at mandatory practice for the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, all this. It doesn't matter. This is just the cost of doing business when you have a good team. This is the cost of doing business. I think that the Cincinnati Bengals front office deserves more credit from fans because I feel like 2 months ago fans were up in arms when they heard, oh, the front office hasn't had serious talks with T. Higgins. Oh, the front office doesn't know what they're going to do with Joe Mixon. Oh, now Trey Hendrickson wants a trade. Duke Tobin, the front office, this team, they know what they're doing. There is a plan. There is a blueprint, and they're following it to a T. Once again, pun intended, as we're talking about T. Higgins. And it's just the price of doing business in the NFL. The Cincinnati Bengals are fine. There's no discord in the locker room. Zach Taylor, what do we always say? He knows how to get players to play for him. They want to play for Zach Taylor, and it's showing. Higgins didn't need to come back this early. He loves this city, he loves this team, and he wants to play for Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, and the Cincinnati Bengals fans, and they're going to be, once again, contenders, not just in the AFC North, not just in the AFC, but in the National Football League for the Super Bowl.
Casey?
Yeah, a couple different things here that are kind of important that you guys kind of alluded to. T. Higgins, regardless of what he wanted, was going to be playing under the franchise tag, so why not come in, sign it now, be with the team, compete for the Super Bowl, because you already know that's what your future is going to be. You've already seen it playing out with Jesse Bates, so kudos to him for realizing that. He's going to be with the team. He's going to grow with the team this summer, this offseason, and not be behind. Good for him. The other thing that's good for the Bengals is now when we look at this franchise tag, it's actually a pretty good deal. Look at all the other receivers that got deals over this summer. I mean, we thought that this was a bad deal because, you know, you're taking the top 5 receivers, you're averaging it out and giving it to T. Higgins. Well, now he's getting paid like, what, a top 10, 15 receiver? Exactly where we thought he should be. Exactly where we thought he plays at in the NFL as a top 15 receiver. So, that being said, this is a good deal for the Bengals. It's a good deal for T. Higgins. Everyone's on the same page. There will be on the same page starting week 1. What more could you ask for? I mean, this was exactly what the Bengals had hoped for.
Charlie Goldsmith, he was reporting on this on Saturday when it broke. And he says, you know, T. Higgins reporting for the first day of training camp is significant. Last year's season opener is a reminder of that. Higgins went 0 for 8 on catches in that game, and there were a lot of communication mistakes. Obviously, quote, obviously those things happen when your quarterback doesn't perform in training camp. Burrow said, now the starting offense gets a full summer of working together. And I think that's a big part of it, too. Constantly
Unless he has another appendectomy or something.
I was going to say, it's the one thing that we've been asking for since Joe Burrow has come into the league is, hey, can we get a normal preseason?
It's the one constant.
Can we get Joe Burrow to have a full preseason with the entire offense? First year, he's coming out of COVID where he didn't even meet the guys. He gets drafted from his parents' living room. Second year, coming off a major injury. Third year, appendectomy. Last year, calf injury. Can we have a normal offseason? And it looks like we're going to have that.
Did Trey Hendrickson retire yet?
You hate that.
Yeah, because I think that was the dumbest. Like, if you're going to lie, like, make it at least somewhat believable. Like, I'm going to retire. Okay. But, yeah, I agree with Reed 100%. There's no drama in this locker room. Zach Taylor, say whatever you want about him. Zach Taylor, again, can inspire this group of men. That's what he has the ability to do. Say it's for the culture. Say he knows how to throw parties. Whatever it is, there's something about Zach Taylor where everybody likes to play for him in that clubhouse. So I'm happy that T's here. I'm happy that the Bengals get to start this summer with a seemingly completely healthy roster, and we'll see where that takes us going forward. It couldn't have been a better start to this upcoming season than have T. Higgins sign on, what was that, June 15th.
Just to be clear, you're the one that says those things about Zach Taylor.
Correct.
Okay.
Just so we're all
we're all on the same page.
Just so we're all clear. No longer on play calling though.
Correct.
Can I propose a question?
So it worked.
Is this offense the most talented offense the Cincinnati Bengals have had in the Joe Burrow era coming into this year? Jamar Chase,
better O-line,
T. Higgins,
slightly worse running back.
Jermaine Burton, Mike Gesicki at tight ends.
I don't think rookie year Jermaine Burton's as good as Tyler
Yoshi,
Boyd.
Chuck Nasty.
I still think the best offense is the one we lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
That was the best team, no doubt about it. Okay. I will put it, because I'm more excited for Mike Gesicki than I was for Hayden Hurst, than I certainly was more than Irv Smith and CJ
totally agree
Uzomah.
there.
So that's an improvement at tight end. And I'll take Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, another year older. Jamar getting more into his prime. T getting more into his prime as long as he's healthy. And then we're replacing Tyler Boyd with a combination of Jermaine Burton, Andre Yoshivas, Charlie Jones. Like, I like this offense, I think, at least weapon-wise, more. I like Zach Moss, I think, more than Joe Mixon. I think Chase Brown's going to have an upside of a year. I like the size that we have on the offensive line. I like this offense more than any offense that we've had, at least on paper, right? You've got to see it fold out. But I like this offense on paper more so than any offense we've had.
I like that take. I think it's definitely fun. In 2021, Mixon ran for almost 1,300 total yards and 15 touchdowns. Like, I don't know if we're going to get that kind of production out of the running back position this year.
I think you can get that out of the two.
Maybe.
I think you can get that out of the two.
Maybe.
Zach Moss last year in 14 games rushed for 794 yards. Not bad in 14 games. Averaging 4.3 yards per carry, per attempt. And receiving-wise, I don't believe he contributed much. He had 190 yards receiving.
I just think that the tandem between Zach Moss and Chase Brown
Chase Brown will be good.
is better suited than almost exclusively relying on Joe Mixon like we did to start last year.
Yeah.
Eventually we started getting Chase Brown in the mix, was a rookie, trying to get snaps over a guy that has been as successful as Joe Mixon. I like our running back room, I think, now more than I did last year. And this is,
I agree with that for sure.
Once again, I'm saying this as the guy who says, hey, running backs, dime a dozen, all the things that I say about running backs. I like this room, if not the exact same, more. So if you give me a slightly better offensive line, at least more talented,
for sure,
at least more size.
Best offensive line of Burrow's career, for sure.
And then you're giving me a better tight end room. You're giving me an equal to, and if you want to say slightly worse running back room, I'm okay with that. And then you're taking maybe this wide receiving room with a third option. Maybe you can't create Tyler Boyd from 2 years ago in the aggregate of that is going to be Jermaine Burton, Charlie Jones, and Andre Yoshivas. But I have confidence that it certainly has a higher ceiling. I have confidence that it will create. I mean, the red zone options alone this year are far greater than they've ever had. Between Gesicki, Yoshi, and then obviously Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Far greater.
I mean, we saw Yoshi last year. Like almost 50% of his total catches were touchdowns? I think
yes, it's 6 catches.
3 touchdowns, right?
4
touchdowns? Yeah.
4.
Like, yeah,
I like this, and that's one thing that everyone wants to talk about is this offense not getting to what it's supposed to be. You know, it's billed in the NFL as one of the best offenses in the league, and we really haven't seen the points put up there to be a top 3 offense, like some would say. They're still top 10. Don't get me wrong. But the big thing is they've struggled in the red zone, especially in the postseason. Was the game against the Titans? They couldn't score. It was a bunch of field goals. Part of that is because the weapons that they had weren't really copacetic for red zone offense, and then a big part is offensive line. If you can't get a push in the red zone, you can't score. I like this offense more so than any year previously.
That's fair. And again, the Bengals are going to have a favorable schedule to start this season. So if they're able to get hot right away, if this offense is able to have a healthy offseason, get me to preseason, play in a game or two in preseason, I think this could be a year that the Bengals shine.
I mean, there's no way Zach Taylor plays people in the preseason.
Well, that's true too. Jim?
I was going to say, where do you think it ranks league-wide?
So this is, I've had this opinion now for a couple of years that you look, or at least 1 year, is if you look across the league, and this is where I say it's becoming harder to justify giving huge extensions. I want to give Jamar Chase an extension. I wouldn't give T. Higgins an extension. Is if you look league-wide, almost every team has a very viable 1, and almost most of them have a pretty viable 2. When it comes to league-wide, there's the Texans obviously have a lot. The 49ers still have a bunch. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at it's certainly a top 5 weapons-wise between Joe Burrow and the weapons. I'd put them right at 5, I guess.
Probably. I mean, just off the top of my head, Lions, Vikings.
Vikings certainly, but they don't have the quarterback room.
Yeah.
If
Right,
we're
but they're just
talking
going strictly weapons.
straight weapons.
I think Vikings are probably 1.
In the combination of weapons to quarterback, certainly top
5. If you include quarterback,
Chiefs.
their weapons aren't any good.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Quarterback's pretty good.
But their weapons aren't top 15.
But how many times are we going to go through the Chiefs' offense isn't that good? They just have Mahomes.
He doesn't need weapons to be good,
Right.
but when you're talking about who has the best weapons plus quarterback, you can't just say that their weapons are good even though they're not.
But those
No,
weapons.
I agree, but
dramatically
those weapons will be pretty good because they have Patrick Mahomes.
100%.
Yeah.
That's it. We are going to go to break real quick. ESPN 1410 WM. Shout out to Justin Edgel in the chat. $4.99. Now Schefter can't get his rocks off about Bengals wide receivers not showing up. Adam Schefter, tough weekend
Still
to be
haven't
you.
seen a tweet about Amari Cooper holding out.
Interesting.
Interesting.
That's it. ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back at you.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is my time to shine. The ads.
Hey, I forgot to mention FCC.
They won.
Make sure
They
that's
won.
off
It
radio.
was
Hold on.
phenomenal. to be
You
honest
guys going to
with
the
you.
game on Wednesday?
Yeah.
I'm going.
Oh, yeah, I'll be
Of
there.
course I'm
Who they
not.
play? Who they play?
Philadelphia Union.
Oh. I hate
Storied rivalry lost to them in the championship.
So they
got our revenge,
beat the San Jose Sharks 4-2.
That can't be the team name.
No, it's not. I believe it says they're the Quakes.
Yeah,
That's the
San
hot-
Jose Quakes.
San Jose Quakes.
Good for them. But yes, FCC scored 3 goals in after the 78th minute. That's pretty good, Casey.
What state
Yuya
is San Jose
Kubo.
in?
Hat trick.
California.
We learned that on this show
We
before.
Huh?
Yuya Kubo had a hat trick.
Good
and he
for you.
also, That record.
Continue.
It was like 5th in all time in MLS. The amount of times that he scored that quickly. Like
Really?
minutes. Yeah. So
A
Congrats to Yuya
storied
Kubo.
league, a storied accomplishment in a storied league.
I mean, it was
Good for
pretty good for
When you
a
break
guy
a record
coming
in
off
the
bench.
top 50 soccer league in the world, it means something.
It does. It means a lot.
I'm not going to slander the MLS.
I'm not slandering him.
It's the only it's the only soccer league I care about. I'll say that.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, seriously though, in all honesty, Yuya Kubo, he might be the MVP of this year because he was the only
what I've
one
been saying.
scoring early. He's the only one that was scoring early on in the season,
That's
and
what I thought, too.
now he has helped us come back multiple times.
Us.
Oh, he's on FC. I thought he was on the other team.
Bruh.
I thought, what was our player? Was Lucho,
Why would we be talking about it? If
right?
Yeah, Lucho Acosta.
Didn't he win MVP last year?
He did.
Yeah, he
So
did.
we're going back to back?
No.
He's saying
Yuya
team-
Kubo wins
I-
MVP.
I think he's saying team MVP.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not actual MVP.
Casey, do you have a take on our Spaniards winning 3-0 over Croatia in the Euros?
No, not really. I
Domination.
didn't know there are Spaniards. To be
Our
honest with you.
Spaniards, yes. We're big Spain fans. I wonder if Xavi's still on the team and Xavi Alonso.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Should I wear my
Fernando Torres.
should I wear my Spain jersey on one day this week or
You
next
have a-
time?
you have a-
Reed
you have a
should
Spain
match
kit?
in your
You have a
Spain
Spain
jerseys.
kit?
I have a Spain kit now. I was gifted it. My girlfriend went over to Spain and they got me a Spain kit. So
Viva España.
I have a red,
Pasillos de los
a nice
Ríos.
red Spain kit now. Should I wear it the next time they play?
Is it
Absolutely.
Blank jersey.
Blank jersey on the back.
Which
yeah.
country has the best jerseys? Soccer.
Oh, Spain certainly has the best kits.
Argentina.
Spain
I
certainly.
think
They're not
Argentina's.
jerseys.
I think-
Argentinas are
oh,
beautiful.
You're right. They call them a different word.
They're like
'cause
very
we're
light
soccer.
blue.
Light
We
blue.
do.
They
with
can't
the
call anything the
stripes,
same
yeah.
word.
No.
Although Brazil's are pretty.
It's almost like
pretty,
there's different languages.
Put them on
Yeah.
pitch.
Here's the thing. So about you guys make fun of the Spain thing. I moved into my dorm when I was a freshman in college, and everyone gets the flags to put up on their
Sure.
wall to adorn their walls. I put up a Cubs flag and a Spain national flag.
What a dorm room.
Go Spain.
Vamos.
Thierry Henry is going to be good this year.
Romania defeated Ukraine
Wow.
3-0.
Ukraine's fielding the team with all that going on.
I was going to say they're probably not
They could have been
necessarily
practicing.
they're probably not as focused as the other countries.
Yeah, I assume not. Casey, we got some ads to read.
Yeah, we do. Encore Technologies. They provide IT solutions for a data-centered world with a suite of services from mobile computing, desktop to data center, supporting both centralized and work-from-home computing modules to improve efficiency and...
Productivity.
That's right, Jimbo. It's productivity. Visit Encore.tech. The path to innovation begins here. And let me tell you about this lovely bottled water right here. Pawnee Water, made right here in Hamilton, Ohio. Uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing other brands use. The result is a healthy alkaline water, and some say the best tasting water in the world. Visit Pawnee Water at PAHHNIwater.com so you can buy that great tasting water. We got one last ad to read because it's a Monday, and that's the Game Time app. It's really simple, guys. They have tickets all the way up until game time, and it's 2 simple clicks. Boom, boom. Pricing all up front. You get to see exactly where you're sitting at. And, it's one of the best apps out there. Let me pull up some of the events that are happening here around Cincinnati. I know that there's a Niall Horn concert here coming up on the 25th or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's coming up. Of course, there's the Red Sox. They play on the 21st. Detroit Tigers, they play in July.
July 5th
July
through
5th.
7th.
Yep. They've got some deals, I think, for the Commanders game on Monday Night Football, looks like. Revolution versus FC on Saturday the 22nd. Red Hot Chili Peppers also on the 5th there, But yeah, lots of entertaining events happening around Cincinnati. Go check out the Game Time app. Use code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Check them out. Game Time.
Reminder that in 2 weeks, Lionel Messi coming to Cincinnati. Tickets on the Game Time for Miami at TQL Stadium starting at $187. That's what Messi brings to the town.
What day is that?
That is July 6th.
That's if he doesn't make it past what round is it? You remember what round?
That's right, because there's other leagues that are more important that he plays.
In Copa?
Yeah. What?
Well, I mean, they're going to make it. So
It's
he's
detrimental
probably
to
not
the MLS love that there's just like 15 other leagues that the players care more about.
Yeah, tournaments, leagues.
Well, I mean, they also.
they're playing for their country.
Yeah, they play for their country. They also stop playing in Premier League and things like that,
Yeah.
guys.
Well,
Like, it's not.
Well, didn't
No,
know that.
international break. Like
Yeah.
I don't care either. But yeah, good for FC Cincinnati. Squad's looking good this year. I might go to use the Game Time app to get a concert ticket for Luke Bryan. I don't like Luke Bryan's music. I don't.
So why would you get a ticket?
But I like the vibes that concert.
It's a
would bring.
vibes show.
That's a vibes concert, and he will give them to me. So I might go to Luke Bryan.
So
Bryan's the
remember,
guy from
remember
The
what I
Voice,
asked you
right?
earlier? It's like when you're going to go to a concert with good music.
Still wouldn't cover that.
It's not checking the box.
Luke Bryan doesn't cover good music. I'll openly admit that I don't like Luke Bryan's music, but he's got some things that I can sing along to, and it's a vibes thing. It's a vibe. You can just go for the vibes. Have you ever bought something to go just for the vibes?
You ever got like $40 vibes?
$40 vibes.
I guess I went to a Jimmy Buffett concert one time.
Yeah, Jimmy Buffett, yeah.
I don't necessarily love Jimmy Buffett, but that's literally just a vibes concert. Sure.
I mean, most years when the
didn't buy
Reds
this
and Tigers are bad, we go for the vibes.
yeah, I guess anytime I
true.
went to a Reds game,
I would say the vibes were terrible.
I usually leave upset.
Yeah, but like you go for the
3,500
ballpark.
people
You go for
there.
the ballpark vibes.
yeah, you go to
You're
a
not going
baseball
for the
game.
product
Go
on
to a
the
baseball
field
game.
those times.
That's true. What is Jeremiah's adding? Messi is also the best player to ever play the game. I don't think he will ever be told which games he can and can't play. They need him. That's true.
Well, Ronaldo is.
Yeah, I'll go with Jimmy on that one.
What?
What did I see?
Messi's far better.
What did I see
like
on
Ronaldo. Ronaldo still cares about
X.com?
winning.
Someone was
Pinaldo?
rumoring that
Pesci?
that
Messi?
FC would get Ronaldo.
No.
Did I see that?
I saw that. It was
it was-
between FC and Kansas City.
What?
Ronaldo.
Isn't he getting $1 billion
The
to
analysis
play?
I saw is that the Saudi
Saudi?
club lost in the finals and he was crying and he cares about winning and FC Cincinnati's good and rivals with Miami, so he would want to come over here and win. So he would go to FC Cincinnati
He's gonna-
over
So
a
that was-
bigger
that
club.
was the leap of
and
logic
he'd want
we
to
took.
be rivals with Messi, so he'd go to their rival club. That was the logic. I watched the video.
And see, you can't
Made
call
me
him,
feel less confident than before.
you can't call him a ring chaser though because they're not in first and they didn't win a ring. That's
True.
Justin with a super chat, $1.99. Luke Bryan shows are awesome. Scenery second to none. I agree.
Is that a bonk?
I think that has to be a bonk.
That's
I think
a
it's
bonk.
a bonk.
He's not talking about Luke Bryan's production.
Yeah.
That's a tough.
I think I got.
What do you think the scenery was?
I don't know. I think I got.
Riverbend? Just like
I think I got. We know Everett says we know Elliot is going with someone to Luke Bryan. Yeah, Everett, you. I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna pick you up from your beautiful house.
when
wherever
does
it
Luke
is.
Bryan play in town?
I have it marked on the calendar. I don't know what day that is. Sometime in June or July. That's it. We're going to get back to the radio here in a bit, so we're going to take 5 seconds of silence, and then we're going to come right back. Welcome back into Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. If you're listening on your car radio, we thank you very much. We also got a YouTube stream going on. If you're listening to this and want to re-watch us, we are on YouTube. We've got all kinds of videos there. Like the stream, help us out, subscribe, do all that fun stuff that YouTubers say. So whenever you want, come on over. Reds lost to the Brewers. 8th consecutive series loss to Milwaukee. Anytime the Reds are playing the Brewers, I have no hope whatsoever. This series was no different. You don't expect to win the series. You expect to win a game, avoid sweeps, which is what they did, to be fair. But yeah, what I take away from this is that the Reds just are, the Brewers are the Reds' kryptonite. They'll always be that, and they'll always continue to be that, and nothing will ever change it. That's what I know going into it. And this series, again, just killed me. So, but good for the Reds. The offense showed up a little bit in this series, which usually they don't show up whatsoever. There was a little bit of fight this time around, and that's all I got. Yesterday, there was a situation, which I want to talk to Jacob about now. With 2 men on and nobody out in the 6th inning, Frankie Montas gets pulled. Lucas Sims gets brought in. Lucas Sims with runners on, I don't know the exact stats right off the top of my head, but he's been far worse.
7 of 15 inherited runners have scored.
Far worse than Fernando Cruz in that exact situation. Fernando Cruz has been phenomenal. He's been the Reds' best pitcher when it comes to inheriting runners and finishing out the inning. Fernando Cruz was off on Saturday. He did not pitch. I don't understand why David Bell elected to go Lucas Sims in that specific situation when you need a series victory against a divisional opponent. It's just like we can say like there's 162 games and you got to pick and choose when to fight your battles. I'd argue there's not a bigger battle that the Reds have this season when you're playing Milwaukee for a chance to win that series. So if there was ever like a big-time moment, that was it, and Fernando Cruz was not used. It was an off day for him. He now has had back-to-back days off. We'll see if the Reds use him tonight. For me, it was a no-brainer to go Fernando Cruz. I don't understand David Bell's logic there other than he just needed an off day. And Nick Kirby tweeted out, yes, he's on pace to pitch in 76 games. Ian Gibaut did the same thing last season. And Reed pointed out to me yesterday, maybe that's why Ian Gibaut's hurt this year. Maybe it's overuse. He's got that muscle strain in his forearm. Maybe that's what's going on here. Saying that, when you only pitch an inning at a time, and not all Fernando Cruz outings are the same. He'll come in to get 1 out occasionally. He'll come in to get 2 outs occasionally. It's not all 30-pitch, 20-pitch innings. I would have had my best reliever come in that specific situation yesterday to get out of a jam.
When I really went over the edge, I was fine with Lucas Sims. I think he made a decent pitch that Willie Adames just took, yards, which happens. Willie Adames is a pretty good player, but if he gets a ground ball, there, we're not talking about it at all. So there's obviously that to it. If you go to a reliever, I think you definitely should have went to Cruz, but I was in the camp that Montas should have been left in. He was low 80s pitches. He hadn't been hit around very much.
Agree with you.
It was 2 runners on base. I would have let Montas stay in there and let him rock. He was obviously frustrated to come out on the broadcast. They pointed out that they hoped that this was one of the Bell, talking to the starter, seeing if he could lobby to stay in. It obviously wasn't. He motioned to the bullpen before he even got up to the mound. So I really went over the edge when I heard Fernando Cruz was warming up to come in extras if the game was tied.
Correct.
If he wasn't a hard day off, how do you not use him in that situation? That's a win or lose situation. I mean, I understand there's 12 outs left in the game, but you went down and never came back. So I don't know if you're planning on using Fernando Cruz at some point on Saturday, how you don't use him there.
I'm not a blame the manager guy. I'm not a blame David Bell guy. But I watched yesterday's game, and it just was 100% the right decision to go to Fernando Cruz if you weren't going to stick with Frankie in that situation. But if Frankie stays out and he gives up a home run, just like Lucas Sims did, everybody would complain about that as well. So it was a lose-lose for David Bell on who to go to. I just think there was a bigger upside if you go Fernando Cruz on and off, after an off day. Again, that's vital because I think if you have the off day there, if he was pitching 9 straight games, and he's pitched in a lot of games over the past week. I think he's pitched in nearly every single one of them. But again, not all outings are the same, and I think Fernando Cruz could have done it yesterday. Lucas Sims, I trust Lucas Sims a little bit. It's just one of those things now. I think he's the longest tenured Red on the team. And he's just somebody I really don't like in a clutch situation, 8th, 9th inning when you need to get an out. Lucas Sims is not a guy I go to. He just hasn't been that guy for me personally. I'm sure that stats will not back me up on that, but it just seems to me, especially over the last couple outings now, he hasn't had it. And yesterday was no different. Lucas Sims, was that the first pitch?
It was the first pitch.
First pitch, a home run?
He had cool custom Father's Day cleats, though. So kudos to him.
That's a tough tweet to read back.
Yeah.
But listen.
The bigger, not to keep killing David Bell, I don't want to be a kill David Bell guy, but the bigger issue I had than the, Lucas Sims, Fernando Cruz, Frankie Montas debacle was Espinal pinch running for Jeimer Candelaria, your hottest hitter earlier in the game. I mean, obviously you're trying to create runs. Espinal's much better on the base paths. He's faster. He can play decent defense. So you're not banking on him coming up to hit again. But we get to a point where Elly De La Cruz is at the plate. We know he murders the Brewers.
Yeah.
I was very excited as he got into the box. And then you realize Santiago Espinal has pinch hit for Jeimer Candelaria, or a pinch ran earlier, and he's on deck. And then no-brainer, the Brewers manager sprints out of the clubhouse to call time, intentionally walks Elly. Obviously, Espinal did get a hit. He made it happen. But, I mean, is there a bigger drop-off in emotional excitement between Elly De La Cruz at the plate as the winning run, runner on first, or I guess runner on second at that point with Stu after the error into the dugout. And then you go to Santiago Espinal, who's hitting well below the Mendoza, I believe. So, yeah, not the best. And if Candelaria was there, you certainly don't intentionally walk Elly. I mean, Candelaria has been one of the hottest players of the year. So. Yeah,
but here's the thing with that. It's if Espinal goes up there and he strikes out on 3 pitches, I'd agree. But if he comes up with a big hit, I can't knock that decision.
It's more for me that he didn't pinch hit.
Yeah.
It's that he pinch ran and you forced your best hitter out of the lineup when you had a do or die thing again in a series you really want to win.
That's fair, and it's just nitpicking, I guess, a little bit here for David Bell. I don't blame David Bell for that series. At some point, you need your players to play good, and if Lucas Sims is going to blow it, if Santiago Espinal did blow it, he didn't. Again, Santiago Espinal came up big time. That was a massive clutch hit from one of the worst hitters on this team.
Yeah.
And the fact that Stuart Fairchild wasn't close to home, it's just never going to leave my mind.
I don't understand it.
I don't understand it either, because on the play, he looks back once. And maybe you could argue he should never look back.
There's 2 outs. What are you looking back for?
Correct. But it looked like he got a good jump, and then it was just, I guess, a shallow center fielder and nailed the throw. But I've never seen it like that where it wasn't a bang. That wasn't a bang play.
No.
He was just out. I mean, he was out by a mile. And it's just unfortunate. So
Brewers outfield just continued to impress all 3 games defensively. No matter who they rolled out there, the 3 that were out there, I mean, Frelick, Churio, all of them were incredible defensively.
Jonathan India yesterday, he had a hit. I thought it for sure was going to drop. I think it was in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
A missile. It was the hardest hit ball of the game, and it was just a great play by the center fielder. There's nothing else.
He caught it on the
run
fairly easily.
Who is the right fielder for the Brewers? Is that Frelick?
I think it was Frelick yesterday.
He made a phenomenal over-the-shoulder catch by the wall. It was just ridiculous. And yeah, it just seems like every time we enter Milwaukee, A, we lose, B, we don't hit, and C, the defense by the Brewers is phenomenal. I remember Carlos Gomez in center field for the Brewers when the Reds was going to town. He would rob Joey Votto's home runs to center field every single time. I think it happened twice. But I remember it happening every single game where they would just have phenomenal defense and the Reds fall victim to it. I also believe that the Reds, and I said it when we were at that game. What game was that? Last week. I don't know what game that was. Tuesday? I think we were there Tuesday for the Guardians. I believe that whenever the Reds play somebody, they're on their best defensive performance ever. I firmly believe that. And they don't commit errors. They just make gold glove caliber catches every single time. And the Reds will fall victim to it forever. I don't know. That's just my personal belief. Could be wrong on that as well.
His balls would have got out if MLB wasn't using dead balls.
That's true, too. But outside of that, any big takeaways from this Brewers series? My thing is I wanted 500 baseball. If you win the series against the Pirates, this is no harm, no foul to me. So
I don't want to do we went to Milwaukee and competed with the Brewers, but I'm about to do we went to Milwaukee and competed with the Brewers. We played 5 games right there against 2 of the better teams in baseball. I mean, the Guardians are towards the top of the American League, and obviously the Brewers comfortably ahead in the Central, and we competed in all 3 games, or all 5 games really, and we won the one in Milwaukee that we played the worst in. So you do some slight tweaks and you win that series. I was encouraged for this weekend.
I agree with you. I think you should be proud of how the Reds performed in the sense that these weren't like blowout games. It wasn't 1-0, 3-0, 4. They weren't getting shut out. They showed up, and the Reds pitched well for the most part. It's just one of those things where I need to see a win. 8 consecutive series losses is pathetic. I don't care who the opponent is. It's bad. It's objectively bad, and that's where the Reds are against the Milwaukee Brewers right now, and they have to break that spell eventually if they want to make the postseason. You can't just lose to the Brewers every single time and expect to make the playoffs. So hopefully that turns around at some point this season. We'll wait and see for that. But again, not too much for me to take away. I thought Frankie Montas pitched well yesterday up until he got pulled in the 6th inning, and those runners unfortunately get inherited to him. But yeah, it was a fine series for the Reds, and we hope to win 2 or 3 against the Pirates. I don't like my chances with Paul Skenes.
Tonight, Skenes versus Spiers. 2 of the biggest pitching prospects names in sports. Nothing more exciting.
That's correct. Carson Spiers. And by the way, I'm looking at the graphic over here. It was a very well done graphic. Carson
Thanks,
Spiers.
Jeremiah.
That's our boy. That's our boy Jeremiah.
Love it.
Carson Spiers has been great this year for the Reds.
Bullpen numbers, important to qualify.
True. I will say this: if Carson Spiers is able to pitch well tonight, I'm all in on he should be the last guy to make the rotation, because it looks like Brandon Williamson's not coming back anytime soon. That's at least the reports I've been seeing. He re-aggravated the injury, and maybe he's not coming back. Graham Ashcraft. No offense to Graham Ashcraft, we love our sweet bulldog.
3 runs in his first AAA outing.
Really?
Yeah.
How many innings?
I think like 6. So he pitched okay.
Okay,
but
quality.
not-
We'll get that's a minor league quality start. But when you're playing Paul Skenes and you're taking on one of the best pitchers in the league, I'd like to have somebody that's able to go toe-to-toe with him. Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll have that tonight. But Carson Spiers has been very good this season as a Cincinnati Red. And if he's able to go well tonight, I'm all in for him just taking that 5th spot.
Yeah,
Graham
like
Ashcraft can sit down there for a little bit, and we'll ride with the hot hand.
Yeah, I think splitting the series against Cleveland and taking one and playing well in the last game against the Brewers, 2 and 3 last week against 2 first-place teams, 2 teams that this season everyone kind of thinks aren't that good, but continue to win baseball games because they're disciplined and they're solid all-around guys that continue to come up big in important moments. I think now you're going into a stretch against a Red Sox team that you have 3 games against them at home, who are due to come back to 500. They've done it all year. And then you have 6 games against the Pirates. So you can say, like, you don't really want to just be complacent with winning 2 out of 5. But you have a chance to play teams that aren't that good coming up until the Yankees in 2 weeks. And I think that if they can continue to play the way they did against these 2 teams, they'll win a majority of those games, and they'll be probably above 500 after that. And I think that puts them in a really good spot heading into the All-Star break, where their last 10 games are against teams that are, Tigers are 500, not very good, and Colorado's terrible, and Miami is even worse. So I think that this stretch is...
It's the most important stretch of the season by far.
Of the year. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. And there's a couple good teams in there, but really it's the importance of every game against all these divisional opponents, and especially that little easy stretch right before the All-Star game. This whole month stretch here, it's going to be massive for the Cincinnati Reds. It's going to be very telling. If you're able to play 500 ball, that's all I ask. I'd like to be a little bit over. But we'll find out. We're going to talk about the Reds a little bit more coming up. We got to take a break. We got to run. ESPN 1410 Wing AM, home of the Cincinnati Reds and home of all the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley. We'll be right back with you. And And welcome on in. It is the final segment of the day for our radio listeners. Hope everybody's having a good day. Trying not to stay too hot. Getting some air conditioning every once in a while. Drink some water. I will say at my house, what a horrible time to have our water lines, our pipes. They were fixed about 2 weeks ago, and we're waiting for the company to come out and fix some more, so we don't have drinking water.
Fun.
We do have like the little filters, so we just filter the water, I guess, is how we're doing it for the lead and all that stuff.
Go to Kroger, get some cases of water. That's all you need.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're fighting through it.
The Reds water.
The Reds water stink.
What?
If you get an ice cold Reds water, there's quite literally
What?
nothing better in the entire world.
No,
You don't like the Kroger Reds water?
Well, there's only one thing better in the
I like
entire
Pawnee
world.
water.
Pawnee water.
That's correct.
Pawnee water's the best.
Right,
Reed.
that's true.
Obviously.
That's true.
Idiot.
By the way, you said
Idiot.
opponents always play their best defense against the Cincinnati Reds.
This
Prove me
doesn't-
right.
I feel like he's not going
He's
to.
going to prove you so wrong.
Reds opponents have committed the 4th most errors in the MLB when playing the Reds.
Well, you got to edit that to games Elliott's in attendance for.
Here's the thing. Every stat that I'm 100% right about, I'm actually 100% wrong about. So that helps me out there. Jonathan India, Colton wanted me to shout out Jonathan India. This is the leader. This is the captain of the squad. And to say that I've been incredibly impressed with not only his offense as of late, his defense has been great.
Great.
His defense has been flawless, nearly. Yesterday, he had a diving catch. It was incredible. So yeah, it's a big time step up from our boy. I'm going to give some stats. Over his last 15 games, he's hitting .298 with a .397 OBP. 10 RBIs in that stretch. In his last 15 games, 10 RBIs, 14 hits. In his last 30 games, .277, .391, a .372 slug, 17 RBIs, 16 walks, 2 home runs, 26 hits in his last 30 games. Jonathan India has been absolutely incredible recently, and shout out to our boy. I wanted him to play decent defense. He's able to give that to us as of late. Noelvi Marte, he's going to come back up eventually, and I thought Indy would be swiftly benched. Maybe that won't be the case. Maybe Jonathan India has proven himself a little bit to still be that everyday second baseman.
No errors at second base this year.
Really?
No errors
Leader.
for Jonathan India.
That's our boy.
Leader.
My whole point was you just got to believe in him a little bit. And if not, he's certainly boosting the trade stock right before the deadline.
That's the positive.
I'm not a trade Jonathan India guy, but
Jonathan India, defensive WAR, the exact same as he had last year, -0.5.
Well, I guess the errors don't matter then.
here's the thing about that stat. I don't believe it. I don't
That's
believe
fair.
that one.
That's fair.
I don't believe that one.
I just refuse to believe a guy with 9 errors last year and 0 errors this year is the same defense.
How is that possible? How does that make sense?
I don't know.
How is that stat calculated?
I don't know. I'm just reading the stats.
I need more information.
Do you want the definition of a defensive win?
Please.
Defensive WAR?
Please.
A defensive measure of wins above replacement, but given only the defensive stats of the player and his position adjustment. For this calculation, we use a replacement level on defense and the league average based on Baseball Info Solutions. Defensive runs saved from, it just tells you the definition. Doesn't give you either.
So that gave me nothing. In fact, that was a waste of all of our time to hear that.
You guys asked.
Read out. But yeah, I guess he's been a terrible defender per Reed. So never mind. My whole point moot. Point moot.
His range on Baseball Savant is above league average. So
I'll
that's
say
above average.
this.
There you go.
I'll say this. If you watch the games and don't nerd out with that stuff, he's been objectively better. He's been objectively better. He's been more comfortable. His throws haven't been trash. He's been able to make diving catches consistently. I at least from what I've seen. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but Jonathan India looks like a better defender out there. Looks more confident. So that's our boy. Noelvi Marte, when does he officially come up? Do we have that date? It's next week, right? I think it's next week at some point.
That I'm not sure.
The other story from this weekend, I forgot to mention it. It's the curse of Snoop Dogg. It's the curse of Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg came out. He crip walked up to the mound, threw out
Why
the first
was
pitch.
Snoop Dogg there?
He was doing a concert.
Oh.
He was doing a concert
Was
at
it Summerfest?
No, casino. It was at a casino.
Noelvi is eligible to return 10 days from today.
10 days
June
from today?
27th.
Did you see he almost hit 2 home runs yesterday? Almost.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I did see that.
Thanks.
And
It was
here's the
really
thing
close.
about
How's Torkelson doing?
He's hitting like 300.
In Toledo?
Yeah.
Yeah, have fun
Yes.
in Toledo.
Yeah,
buddy.
enjoy that Stormtrooper jersey. buddy.
City of brotherly crime.
Objectively sweet.
But yeah, listen, Noelvi Marte, if he's able to come back and give us a spark on offense, I'll be very, very excited. He would have hit 2 home runs for sure if he was still roided up. So that's good news for us.
That's good, yeah. No.
So he's not roided up for sure. He only hit 1 home run opposed to the 2 he could have had.
Could have had 2 more.
So that's big.
So close.
Out Hurtubise pinch ran. It wasn't Espinal. Espinal hit for Hurtubise.
They should have let Hurtubise hit, in my opinion, then. Yeah, they fumbled
Jacob
the game.
Hurtubise. Jacob Hurtubise. Will he be the next one to be sent down? Surely.
I hope not.
Who? I mean, yeah, right?
Will it be him or Martini?
Oh, well,
Martini's kind of been a fringe guy.
Martini's been hitting.
Yeah, but he's been.
Video game numbers.
Oh, that's true. But they called him up for that reason. That's the only time he was going to hit.
That's true. So you send him back down when Marte's ready?
Yeah.
What, is the Martini Blake Dunn flip-flop happen again?
Yes, maybe.
And then you send her to be down for Marte?
It is funny. Nick Martini definitely did his job. He got 2 hits and a walk this weekend. So that's our boy. Nick Martini definitely came up and did his job, proved the haters, me, wrong. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Cincinnati Reds. Again, just fight. Nick Kirby and Trace were talking about this yesterday. I thought this was an interesting thing. They posted, somebody on Twitter, being they, posted the graphic of all the wild card teams. Every team, pretty much every team except for 2, right, in the National League. The Marlins and the Rockies are dead. But the rest are all within a game and a half of that final wild card spot. And I guess some people were saying, this is bad for baseball, bad for the... If you're one of those people, get lost. I mean, just kick rocks, because it's objectively more fun to have more teams in the hunt. And it's you're able to do it in a way that's not like the NBA, where literally every team is not eliminated ever, because 75% of the teams make the postseason. This isn't like that. You still have 14 teams. It's 14 teams out of 30 are making it. So, I listen. The Reds being in contention to make the playoffs under 500 on June 17th is awesome.
Isn't fair.
It is awesome.
The job of the league office is to make the games that are played in your league as entertaining as possible. Make them matter to as many people and as many teams as possible. That's the league.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. That's across the board. And we see what happens on the wrong side of it when you add more teams into the postseason mix, is it does undermine regular season for the top teams, right?
Yeah.
That's objectively true. No doubt about it. You look at college football with what they're doing in the top 12, yeah, Ohio State's going to make it with 2 losses every single year, and their game against Michigan's going to mean a little less. But on the vice versa, millions of more fans will care about their games late in the year now. If it was the old way to where only 4 teams made the postseason per league before the wild card game started back in, 2014? So just a decade ago. These games that the Reds are playing wouldn't matter. They're 8 games out. I mean, if they win 10 in a row and get it within 3, then they matter, but they just wouldn't matter. You're excited about every single game because every single game matters. That's huge. That's what it's so. Everyone just wants to complain about change. That's all it is.
And I feel like a lot of it. I complained about the pitch. What is it? The pitch clock. I was against it. I felt like you were changing what the game is. Objectively good. There are still people who complain about the base runner rule, the extra base runner.
Oh, that'll change.
I love that rule. People don't like that one. I like that one a lot.
I like it a lot.
3 batter minimum.
Like it.
3 batter minimum is the only one I don't like a lot, because I feel like there's a lot of situations in baseball where you put in a lefty to get that get 2 outs or whatever it is. And
yeah, it certainly took away some people's jobs. Oliver Perez for a long time he would throw in 75 games and he'd throw 40 innings.
Yeah.
That's just wild. But yeah, that happens. But it makes it more. You have to be more strategic as a manager now, because a guy needs to face either get the final out or he's going to face 3 batters. So that's one thing. I think these are all good. But the point is it's good that 13 teams in the National League, midway through, we're not even midway through the season yet, 13 teams in the National League believe that they can make the postseason. That is good. That is good. We talk a lot about in Major League Baseball how you're playing a stacked deck, right? When the Dodgers can go out and sign Shohei Ohtani to a $700 million deal and Yamamoto to a $300 million deal in the same offseason, commit $1 billion in one offseason, it doesn't feel very fair for the Pittsburgh Pirates, for the Cincinnati Reds, for those teams. It doesn't feel fair. This gives these teams a chance. where now we are in the middle of June and 13 of 15 teams believe they can make the postseason. Truly believe they can make the postseason. That's good for the sport.
So it's the Mets. Mets and the Cubs are 1.5 games back. The Pirates and the Reds are a game back. The Giants and the Diamondbacks are a half game back, and the Nationals, Padres are tied for that final spot. Cardinals are in the postseason right now at playing 500 baseball.
The Cubs have won one series in a month and a half.
That's crazy.
And they're a game and a half back.
Yeah.
The Reds won 3 games through the first 24 days of May. They're a game out. These are good things. These are good things. Now we can care about the teams that we care about deep into a season. And does it water down the top of the league? Certainly. Certainly. Is it fair that the Dodgers are going to win 110 games and a team that can go under 500 can beat them in the postseason? Maybe not. But it's also not fair that the Dodgers can commit $1 billion in one offseason and the Reds can't. And the Pirates can't. It's just leveling the playing field at least a little bit. What have we seen in the National League the last 2 years? The final wild card team has made the World Series the last 2 years. The Arizona Diamondbacks were an afterthought the entire season. Yeah, they're kind of dwindling around the last wild card spot. No one took them seriously. They won the pennant. That's what the Reds can do this year. That's what the Pittsburgh Pirates can do. That's what the Mets, who just lost a player 3 weeks ago because he said, we're on the worst team in the history of baseball. And here they are a game and a half out. These are good things.
The Reds have the 3rd best win differential amongst all wildcard teams. They're plus 13 in the differential. Diamondbacks are plus 3. Padres are plus 16. Braves are plus 37. For reference, on the other side, the Orioles have the top wildcard spot. Their differential is plus 114. Plus 61 are the Kansas City Royals. Plus 38 are the Boston Red Sox, and they are not in the playoffs.
The AL East is just ridiculous.
Just how crazy it is in the American League. But National League, listen, we're the dumpster, but we have fun. We have fun rolling around.
You can have those good baseball teams over there. We'll just have vibes.
That's what we are. We are the Vibes League, and that's for sure. Outside of that, listen, I'm not too upset about anything right now regarding the Reds, so just enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride while we still have a ride. Eventually, these wheels are going to fall off, and when that happens, that's when I will go off. But as of for now, just play 500 ball. Don't get swept. That is the biggest thing of all time. Do not get swept no matter what you do. And then whatever happens after that, I don't care really. So go Reds, go. That's it for the Reds. That's it for our show today on ESPN 1410 Wing AM. I am Elliot Rearing Reed Mouse, Jacob Tissett, Jimmy Collins, a.k.a. Dick Collins, and we have Casey McAllister. That has been our show. That has been Off the Bench, Chatterbox Sports, Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. Listen, if you're on the radio, if you're tuning in that way, Kinner and Kev, I believe, will be up next. For Chatterbox Sports YouTube watchers, we have Grip It and Rip It with Kinner and Tissett. Nailed that rhyme.
You got it.
Nailed that rhyme. Casey announced it, Grip It and Rip It with, I think, Jacob and Kev. I think that's how he announced it last week. But that's it coming up next on our YouTube. We'll have a little bit more bull junk talk here on our YouTube stream. So if you're listening on the radio, come join us. Come have some fun. That's it, everybody. Oh, shout out to my good friend Zach. It's his birthday today. Shout out to Zach. Happy birthday. Mr.
Freeze?
It is Mr. Freeze's birthday.
Nice. Happy birthday, Zach.
Happy birthday to Zach. And that's it. Everybody have a great Monday. Try to stay out of the heat. And Casey sent this to me. I didn't get to see it on Twitter in time, but it's also birthday to 9-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover, and 2-time World Series champion Davey Concepcion. How about that?
Still mad at the Reds for not giving us Encarnacion Strand horseshoe wraparound jersey.
Oh my God, that would have been glorious.
Concepcion's jersey is just the best, with the name that goes all the way around the numbers. We had a great chance. His jersey in spring training was phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
with all 50 of those characters. And
that would be
brutal. You make him cut it down. What a shame.
A real shame. By the way,
has he played the most games by any Red ever? Like 2,500 games for the Reds.
Oh wow. What's his WAR?
40.
Be a Hall of Famer.
Should be a Hall of Famer. By the way, if you care about the Euros, unfortunately, sad result for our Serbian friends. They lost to England 1-0. Serbia loses in the Euros. Jacob, what is your Jacob? What's your favorite thought of or favorite memory of the Serbian national team?
Probably their 1-0 loss to England. I just really thought they had a chance. They kept it close till the end.
They did, didn't
I
they?
assume. England scored either in the first or second half to take the 1-0 lead, and they won the game.
That's right, they did. I'm trying to see any fun notes from here. This is some football debate.
Do you think they'd be better if Jokic played?
Yes, they would. Goalie? Could you imagine a goalie in Nikola Jokic? This is on football on TNT Sports. Should Cole Palmer start England's next game?
Probably.
I think so
He
too.
played well or poorly in the game against Serbia. So
He was there. That's the craziest part is he shows up every time, and you have to give it to him. Casey, what are your thoughts on Cole Palmer?
No clue.
Have you guys seen those pictures of Cole Palmer?
Yeah.
I don't know who he is.
No idea who that is.
I just saw it on the rundown.
Davey Concepcion. Sorry, you can go.
There's like pictures of Cole Palmer before the England squad released on like their Twitter before the Euro started to like hype him up. He just looks like the least hype person ever.
I was going to say Davey Concepcion, so after I found out he played 2,500 games, I was like, is that the most games ever? It is not. Pete Rose played 2,700. 6 Reds all time have played 2,000 games. You want to guess the other ones?
Sure. Joey Votto.
Joey Votto played 2,056. He's the 6th guy. There's 2 other Hall of Famers. Actually, the other 3 are Hall of Famers.
Did Barry or Joe do it?
I don't know. Barry might have.
Barry definitely. Barry's in
Okay,
there.
so we got Barry.
Joe Morgan only played 8 seasons for the Reds. Played more
right.
time for the Astros than he played for the Reds.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's another one from the Big Red Machine. Best player at his position. Johnny Bench.
I'm surprised.
Johnny Bench. And then the last guy you will not get. It's old classic Bid McPhee.
Oh, my favorite.
Hall of Fame second baseman for the Cincinnati Reds from 1882 to 1899.
I haven't thought about McPhee in a while.
Bid McPhee, he played his first 8 seasons in the Cincinnati Reds organization, not in the National League, but instead the American Association. So there you go.
They called him Nanny back then.
Nanny McPhee. Nice.
Did you get that reference?
Yeah. Nanny McPhee.
He said it.
You asked me if I got the reference.
Same spelling or different?
I don't remember how Nanny McPhee spelled.
Hers with a PH.
Yep, PH. Same
How
one.
about that? They might
Good
be
for
relatives.
him.
They might be relatives.
Maybe.
But yeah, any other sporting news that happened this weekend? I was trying to think that I didn't mention. I don't think so. UFC? Did UFC play?
UFC play.
That's a tough quote.
I did that up.
Yeah, I understand. No, UFC did not play. But,
Did boxing play?
McGregor, yes, there was a huge boxing match. Gervonta Davis versus someone else.
Boxing game.
And he was minus 150 to knock him out. And let me tell you, Gervonta Davis is fighting on the weekend. Put that slip in and go to bed because you're going to wake up a richer man.
How about that?
8-0 in his last 8 fights, 8 knockouts. Yeah, no doubt in this one.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing else.
Khamzat Chimaev might retire.
Who?
UFC, really, really good, up-and-coming fighter in the middleweight division. Khamzat Chimaev pulled out of his fight as well. McGregor, we talked about last week, pulling out. Khamzat in the hospital again. He had a scare with COVID where he almost retired, and that really ravaged his, whatever system. And now he's in the hospital again, and he might not be able to fight. It's issue with him. He can't fight in the U.S. He can't fight in anywhere in South America or England. So he only has 3 or 4 different locations he can fight at. So when his fights get canceled, his career always goes up into question because you never know when the next time you get around to Saudi Arabia to fight again is.
Interesting.
There you go.
Casey, I sent you this quick little video on X.com.
Okay.
While he pulls that up, Jeff Passan had a quote that I thought you guys would be interested in. He was asked on a podcast who he thought, obviously the Brewers are the best team in the National League Central. He was asked who he thought the second best team was in the NL Central, and he said very quickly, very, very quickly, he said the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Reed's Pittsburgh Pirates.
He said the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Wow.
Remember when you told me that they were trash?
Well, they're under 500.
They're the exact same record as the Reds. No?
I don't think the Reds are a good baseball team, Reed. Like, both these teams aren't good.
I'm not saying the Reds are great. I'm saying
Jacob told me the other night when we were at B-Dubs that he thinks that this Reds team is going to win the World Series if they make the playoffs.
Who said that?
It's just not
Jacob.
true at all.
He said that they're so good, they're just underperforming.
But here's the thing about the Pittsburgh Pirates. If they make the playoffs, who wants to play the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Yeah.
Jared
Not
Jones,
me.
Mitch Keller, Paul Skenes. Who wants to play that?
Yeah, 3-game series would be deadly. By the way, real quick, Stuart Fairchild. The caption of this tweet was
I
very.
just got shrugged off so quickly. He's like, yeah. Next.
This is the caption of this video is Stuart. We need you to score. we need you to score to tie the game.
Get up here! Let's dance! Let's dance!
There he is.
Good for Stu.
What did I just watch?
Yeah,
for
that's
Stu.
content. That's content in the year 2024. Good for Stuart, I guess. But
Is he now Cincinnati's top professional sport influencer?
yeah, he would be, right?
Everyone hates Cody Ford now.
Yeah, Cody Ford. Yeah, he cheated on that girl that I don't know who it is, and then
I haven't heard anything about that yet.
you're telling
I
me.
haven't either.
Yeah, that was stupid, Mark. You're correct. That was the dumbest video I've ever seen, and that's content. That is elite content in the year 2024. I got nothing else but that. Yeah, Pirates stink.
Yeah,
Full circle.
I guess.
That's it. Listen, that's it for Off the Bench today. We are United Dairy Farmers. That's it.
We are Ohio. We are Chatterbox
Ohio.
Sports.
That's it. Anybody got a better way to end it?
That's usually your job, man.
Yeah, I know, but damn. Jimmy, why don't you end it?
All right.
There we go. Bring the fire.
Sweet. Oh, is the camera on? There we go.
I gotta edit up the radio part.
No, you're fine.
Casey doing 3 jobs over there.
That'll wrap it up for today's episode on Monday, June 17th of Chatterbox Sports Off the Bench. We are Ohio, and we're looking forward to the game tonight against Paul Skenes because for some reason everyone in the chat thinks that Paul Skenes is bad. So I'm kind of looking forward to it to see who's right. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
10A,
2.
12P,
12p.
or 1 to 3.